just recently broke up with our suspect and was alarmed that he had just shown up at the beach at the same time her and her boyfriend had been at the beach, and she was concerned as to how he would know she was there. Didn't really resolve anything during that interaction. The very next morning, her and her current boyfriend got up early in the morning, went back to a different beach up in Jensen Beach, and the ex-boyfriend, suspect in this case, showed up again. At that point, she called 911 again. I'm sorry, she didn't call 911. She drove back towards Stewart, and when she was moving through Sewells Point, stopped at the Sewells Point Police Department and pulled in there, and one of their officers crawled up under her car and found a tracking device on her vehicle. That tracking device was turned over to our detectives, and they immediately did subpoenas and a search warrant and all that they needed to do to get the information that that device was attached to, but of course that takes time. Unfortunately, our victim in this case had some immigration issues. She was afraid to come in person to talk to law enforcement because she's from Canada and she thought that she had immigration violations. So she stayed away from us for a couple weeks. So they had the search warrant that they were working on. They were tracking down this tracking device, but we wanted to interview her and try to figure out more information. When she finally did come in 3 weeks later, she disclosed to our detectives that just prior to her breaking up with this suspect, she had gone through his cell phone and then a computer that everybody in the house had access to. She did, her boyfriend and her boyfriend's son, and found naked photos of herself in the house that she knows she didn't allow him to take, and that and then some other sexually charged videos that were on the device. She broke up with him, thought she had terminated the relationship, and then of course the tracking incident happened. She disclosed to our detectives about the voyeurism issue, and coupled with that, our narcotics detectives were getting information that this suspect was dealing in drugs. This morning, early this morning, the wee hours of the morning, our SWAT team and our detectives executed a search warrant on 29th Street in Palm City, where our suspect lives, and determined that he was not home, but recovered a treasure trove of evidence in this case. And in that evidence, they were able to recover the tracking devices, the devices to monitor the tracking devices. They found a hidden camera, which is the camera that took the video of the video and the photos that she referenced and that they saw. That camera was hidden behind a gold mask. I think we're going to provide you a photo of that gold mask. They found 8 different rifles, some of which had illegal silencers, illegal meaning homemade silencers, not silencers that are approved through the Department of Justice. They found multiple handguns. They found psilocybin mushrooms, LSD, which is acid, currently known as acid, methamphetamine, and a couple of other devices. He wasn't home. So our detectives went to work trying to locate where he was. They learned that he was out with a girl last night. They went home together. They located the house, set up surveillance, and took him into custody early this afternoon. He had very little to say to them. He denied having a cell phone, denied having different belongings. They talked to the girl that he was with. She said, no, he has a cell phone. She turned over a cell phone wrapped in tinfoil, and we've taken that into evidence. They're going to end up getting a search warrant for that, and hopefully downloading that and finding more information. So this is a fresh case. Again, he was just taken into custody a couple of hours ago, but for us at the Sheriff's Office, extremely concerning. His behavior and stalking this young lady and putting a tracking device on her, showing up where she was, covertly taking photos of her, coupled with the kind of drugs he had, psychedelic drugs, methamphetamine, which is something you see people, they do extreme crimes sometimes on methamphetamine, and then the firearms that he had in his possession. So we are thankful we were able to get him off the street safely. He's currently in our jail. He's charged with a myriad of crimes, from drug crimes to the voyeurism case. There's multiple voyeurism charges in that, and we're still currently working with the ATF to determine which guns are legal. We're also, I mentioned the silencers that are involved in this case. Those are illegal, so they're looking at maybe indicting him federally on a couple of these gun violations.
The videos and pictures, those were all of them, even the videos, all of them were not consensual.
That's correct. So it was in his house. He had multiple cameras in his house. She was unaware of that through their relationship, and he took photos of her. She thought she was alone in different rooms, and she was not. She was alone physically, but he was taking photos of her and videos of her while she was there.
You said that the phone was wrapped in cellophane?
Tinfoil. So
For what reason?
he believed we couldn't track the phone based on it being wrapped in tinfoil. I don't know. I don't know if that works, but maybe he's one of those tinfoil hat kind of guys. I'm not sure, but clearly he's got a recipe for disaster. The guns, his mindset, the drugs that he's using. He really is an individual that could have done a lot of damage in a short period of time had he not been taken off the street.
Yeah, speaking of that, you mentioned the suppressors, and that's the most concerning thing I would think, especially he's making homemade suppressors. Any idea what his plan was?
He did not talk. So again, there's a lot of evidence. Again, we'll provide you a photo of the guns and the magazines and the bullets and the drugs that were there. We don't know what his plans were. Back to those rifles, those are called ghost guns, the guns that he has. Just meaning that he built them, it looks like himself. They're not serialized, so they're not trackable through any kind of system, which is not illegal necessarily, but we don't know what he was going to do with the guns. Clearly he's selling drugs. There's a lot of evidence of that. He admitted as much. So again, we're just happy to get somebody who's not thinking clearly, has some psychedelic drugs, some uppers, and then high-powered rifles and silencers. We've got them off the street, so our citizens of Palm Beach or Palm City are safe.
And then just to clarify the guns, we don't. Do you guys know at this point whether they were all legal or only some of them were illegal, or what the situation, like which ones were and weren't illegal and how many?
We don't know. We've got to test them. So he's not a convicted felon, so legally he can possess them. So he's allowed to have legal firearms. He absolutely can't have the silencers without a Class 3 firearm stamp, which he does not have, and those silencers wouldn't fit in that category anyway. And they've got to go through individually and test fire each one of these guns and figure out what they're capable of. One gun does look like it could be capable of being fully automatic, which is concerning to us. But again, that's part of our ongoing investigation. ATF will test fire those guns in conjunction with our employees, and we'll figure out exactly what we have.
So what's he charged with now? What might he be charged with?
Right now, he's charged with the voyeurism. He's charged with the stalking, with the trackers, and he's charged with 3 different drug charges: the psilocybin, LSD, and the methamphetamine. There are more charges coming. It's just, again, the ATF and our detectives have to figure out exactly what they have. He was just arrested a couple of hours ago, so it'll take a little time to flush all that out.
And his background, dishonorably discharged from the military. Can you give us some information on that?
I don't know a lot about his background. I know he's former military, which is always concerning us. I don't know how his military career ended, but he's been trained on how to use these weapons. So again, that's concerning us. I don't know if he was in combat or has PTSD. I don't know any of those details.
Can you confirm the dishonorably part, or you still don't know?
I don't know.
You don't know whether it
I
was
will
honorable?
confirm it for you, but I
Okay.
just don't know. So
How many guns are we talking? Is it all the guns in the photo? I can just count, but how many?
So he had a gun on him when they took him into custody today. Again, that's a legal handgun that he had in his possession. So there was 3 handguns and 8 rifles that were recovered. So 11 guns total. And then in that photo also, you'll see bags of psilocybin mushrooms. The LSD is harder to see because it's small tablets. There's a whole pile of pills that have not been positively identified yet. So we've got to figure out what that is. So there's more to come. Again, we've got the phone that has not been searched yet. Hoping to find more evidence of his voyeurism on that phone. It was on the computer, and again, that computer everybody had access to. His son, his 18-year-old son, had access to that computer. So those files were not encrypted or hidden in any kind of way. She just simply went on there and accessed her photos and was shocked to see herself on there.
Overall message to the community at the end of this, like, I mean, what would you say to people? Do they need to be looking for this kind of a thing, like stalkers or whatever it is? I don't know. What do you think? What would you say is the message?
Couple messages. One is I'm proud of our detectives, the ATF and Sewells Point Police Department for keeping our public safe. They identified a problem. They went to work as quickly as they could to solve this case, and they did, and we've got this individual off the street. The victim in this case really probably prevented her own tragedy because she realized that it just didn't make sense that he was showing up where she was, and she was thoughtful enough to to stop and take the time and interact with law enforcement. So she really cracked her own case and maybe saved her own life. We don't know. But he certainly wasn't following her around for the fun of it. He was certainly jealous. And so our message to individuals is always pay attention. If you've had a bad relationship and there's still a weird interaction, trackers are a big thing now. I think we've done a few media reports on former spouses, former lovers tracking each other. That seems to be our future, unfortunately. And then in this case, she was vigilant enough to go through the computers and see that something was just really off. Now, this guy, if you go in his house, you can kind of tell that he's really off from the very beginning. He's got the whole the psychedelic look going on, like it. So I would encourage somebody to be more vigilant when it comes to that also.
Do you, off the top of your head, know what his bond is, and then do you expect it to go up as charges get added?
I don't know what his bond is. In fact, I don't know all the charges when I walked up here today. So I think Miss Lori will get you a copy of what she has today, but plan on more charges probably coming from the ATF and from the search warrant of that phone. All right,
Good.
I think we're good.
that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Your arms are just tired. That's the only reason why you're good.
I'm just sweating.
I know.
Bigger problem.